All right, here we go. Jumping straight in right off of the stream. The Mets are still celebrating on the field as we speak. Emotional Mets on the field right now. Tough one for the Phils. They go out in 4 games against the Mets. They lose this series 3-1, and it just felt like everything was falling apart at the seams down the stretch this season. We did not want to believe it. We were hoping they would flip the switch late, get things going in October, and they did not. Once again, they run into a buzzsaw. The New York Mets have been playing great baseball for a couple of weeks. They come into Philadelphia. They take game 1. They put us on our heels right away, forced us into must-win situations. They grab the bull by the horns at home, and they don't let us take it back to Citizens Bank Park. Tough go for the Phils, and we are going to start having some real serious conversations about this roster moving forward. The good news, Phils fans, as you know, this is where you can come for your optimistic lookout on the Phils. I've already seen the nonsense online. The sky is falling. Blow it all up. Get rid of Trey Turner. No, sir. No, sirree. Not today. I am not the most concerned moving forward. I am now concerned about things I wasn't concerned with, but overall, looking outside in, we're going to deep dive on everything here on the Cherry Pinstripes channel throughout the winter, talking about this team, rumors, roster changes, everything that's happening at winter meetings, all that stuff. We'll be talking about it here, so if you're new, subscribe down below. But the core of this team, Bryce Harper, still going to be a superstar. Nick Castellanos played great in this series. Trey Turner was great in game 2. Wanted more from him in Citi Field, but Zach Wheeler is still a bona fide ace. It is the arbitration and pre-arbitration portions of this team where you are getting zero production. I hate to say it, the daycare's giving you nothing. And I love Bryson Stott. I think Bryson Stott out of the whole group is the guy who fits his position. You know, at least the contact first, defensive heavy player at that position works. I can take Bryson Stott's glove and his approach at the plate at second base. I don't think we're getting enough defense or power at third. We're not getting enough power in left. JT Realmuto's creeping up there now. Those are the 3 positions I'm a little bit concerned about. I do think that that might have been Alec Bohm's last game in a Philadelphia Phillies uniform, especially with Aiden Miller looking so good. Sitting at shortstop, could potentially slide over. Not going to get time at shortstop with the Phillies over the next few years, so you're most likely going to see Aiden Miller slide over. I would not be shocked if priority number 1 this offseason is finding a good upgrade for Alec Bohm that is also maybe like a bridge gap to Aiden Miller. Maybe like a veteran, like an Eugenio Suarez you can bring in here to play third base for a year or 2 while Aiden Miller gets ready and sees Major League at-bats and comes up. That's an option. You could just go full send 4 or 5 year deal on a guy like Alex Bregman and get a guy who's done this before, won championships in this league, has played at a high level. Could go that department. Left field, we're going to have to dive into that a little bit as the winter goes on. Guys always become corner outfielders always become available, not just, free agency every year, but through trades as well. We will still see guys available in the offseason. So the Phillies are probably going to have an active winter. One of the reasons I was okay with them not dumping the prospects at the trade deadline was because we know this. I know a lot of the fans are all in. If we weren't, it's all World Series or bust. Blow it up. We don't win the World Series, blow it up, trade everyone. It's not going to be like that. John Middleton wants to have sustained success here. And I know we're going backwards. World Series, Championship Series, Division Series. This is the core of this team. The guys that actually make the big bucks, the big contracts on this team, are producing for this team. It's the supporting cast that needs to figure it out. And at this point, year 3 of it, I think we're going to see some changes to this roster. But that's what championship teams are. It's not just the big buck guys. Bryce Harper is not going to go out there and have 3 RBIs every night. He's not going to do it. Trey Turner's not going to go 3 for 5 every game. Nick Castellanos isn't going to have 8 total bases in every game. 6, 7, and 8 in your lineup cannot go 2 for 38 in a playoff series. They can't do it. That can't happen. The biggest difference between this Mets team and the last couple of seasons, in my opinion, is Mark Vientos. They are getting superstar production from a pre-arbitration youngster who was held back by Brett Beatty hype. They now have a bona fide stud producing like a $25-30 million player in the top of that lineup right now, help carrying this team. We don't have that. There's no early arb, pre-arb, arbitration guy who's stepping up, making big plays for this team, consistently driving in runs. All of this team's production has come from the big money players. Alec Bohm had 70 RBIs at the All-Star break. He finished with 97. 699 OPS in the second half of the season. And he's not giving you defense for the lack of power. He's 28 years old now, or gonna be when the season starts, I believe. He might just be who he is now. And unfortunately, I like Alec. Seems like a nice guy. I don't know if we can win a championship with him on this team at third base the way that he's currently constructed as a baseball player. That series he just had was atrocious. I do think he was the biggest weakness, our biggest crutch. He's not just in a slump. He is lost. He's popped up on that same fastball up and in 5 times in this series. After getting benched, he comes back in the lineup and sees 6 pitches and 4 at-bats. On top of that, we talked about this on the live stream during the watch party for Game 4. Alec Bohm's body language is really bad. It's atrocious, and I do think it needs to be noted and talked about. I have no problem with you playing with your heart on your sleeve. You see this jersey I got on right now? See that? You see that jersey I got on right there? It's number 3, Bryce Harper. I don't think there's anyone in the league that plays with their emotions on their sleeve and with more passion than Bryce Harper. Favorite guy to watch. There's a difference between passionate emotion on your sleeves and being a crybaby. And a lot of times when Alec Bohm, things aren't going well, he's not just emotional or down on himself. He is visibly hard to watch. It's a tough watch, seeing actual whining in the dugout. How am I out after you get thrown out? What are we, 11? The dude threw a 104-mile-an-hour missile and hosed you. That's how you're out. I understand you're frustrated, but those are terrible vibes. Multiple times this series. It's just, I truly, as someone who has been a Alec Bohm truther and has been confident this guy's going to develop, and I do think he's a solid player in this league. If you look at his stat line and his numbers and you ignore the position that he plays and you aren't actually watching the at-bats, this is a solid player. He's a Major League Baseball player. He is a Major League Baseball player. But I don't think he is a key contributor at a power position on a championship team, and that is what we are trying to be. That is a massive issue. So we'll see what this roster is going to look like next season. We're going to have Mets and what's looking like the Padres in the National League Championship Series. You're going to be able to see me and all the watch parties with JM Baseball over there. Now that my team's out, I'll be watching the other teams play World War III. Tough. Don't like to go out like that, but what can you do? I'm going to get into some podcasts about guys we could target, what the winter meetings could look like, roster build, shakeup, all that stuff. Might take a couple-week break from the pod just to get things organized, let the postseason roll out, get some talking points for us. But make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to keep up with the Phils all off-season long, go to Cherry Pinstripes on Instagram, Cherry Pins on Twitter. Shoot a follow. Stay up with the channel. Stay up with the pages. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're ramping things up next season. Again, if you've been following along all season long, first of all, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. 2, we're ramping it up next year. We're going from 1 pod a week to 2 pods per week. We will be covering every series and not every other series on a weekly basis. So we will be covering every single series here on the Cherry Pinstripes podcast. And we will also be going to 1 watch party every week as well. I will have a game of the week that I will highlight at the beginning of the week. We're going to watch that live, just like we did for these playoff games. These playoff games were a ton of fun. I love the playoff atmosphere. I love the stream atmosphere. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again next year. Just a quick little recap here. Post-game feelings, Game 4. It's tough. That was a hard watch. The Mets truly were a better baseball team in all facets of the game from Game 1 to Game 4. You take that first at-bat away from Kyle Schwarber to start Game 1, and the Mets were the better team start to finish. Until next time, go Phils. I'm out.